The trucks you hear in the background, normally you associate that with development. Today it's the sound of restoration. It's a very sweet sound. This project's turning back the clock over 100 years.
Long ago, the Nisqually Estuary was a dynamic place. But where the river and the tides of the Puget Sound merged and blended is now still water. A once powerful engine of abundance, it may soon be at work again.
This is the largest estuary restoration project ongoing in all of the Pacific Northwest, and it's a very important step in the restoration of Puget Sound.
Century-old earthen dikes, 5 miles long, must be removed to set free these waters and the wild creatures that depend on them.
It's an amazing story, but we have a long ways to go.
The Nisqually River begins as melting snow on Mount Rainier. 78 miles downstream, its mouth opens to the briny Puget Sound, minutes from the state capital in Olympia. This is the river delta, the Nisqually Estuary.
It's where freshwater and saltwater meet and mix. It's an incredible, intricate system of complicated branching of these little highways, basically, for fish and wildlife to use.
A zone invisible to us, but tumbling with life, among the richest and most productive of all ecosystems.
Estuaries can only occur in that place. You can't force them somewhere else.
80% of Puget Sound's estuaries have vanished beneath human ambitions.
And there's been a high price to pay for that. And that is a decline of fish and wildlife that depend on estuaries, reduced circulation of water, reduced ability to dampen floodwaters, and even the reduced ability to absorb pollutants.
In 1904, the Nisqually Delta was bought by a Seattle attorney. A.L. Brown imagined a modern farm here on an industrial scale. Laborers bent themselves to the task with carts and shovels. They erected the dikes between the river and McAllister Creek, creating a dam that turned 1,000 acres of estuary into pasture and cropland.
It was both a substantial achievement as far as developing it for farming, and it was also a tremendous effect on the estuary because it removed really the heart of the estuary.
Farming continued for decades under various owners. Then, in the late 1960s, the Nisqually became contested terrain as developers proposed an industrial future. A landfill, perhaps, or a deep water superport. But some people had a different concept.
To me, it's a refuge. I come down here and get renewed. The old pioneer days, you know, it was a struggle against nature to develop, to build your home, to raise your food. We've won that battle. Now the battle is to preserve some nature.
Citizens rallied to this vision, and the estuary became a national wildlife refuge in 1974.
We felt as though there was a major success that had happened. The exciting thing now is with the restoration.
After 12 years of planning and a commitment of $12 million from many partners, the refuge is undergoing a transformation. For this project, Ducks Unlimited has put its science and engineering expertise on the line.
Well, Ducks Unlimited's mission is to restore wetland habitat. That's what we do. We just go about our business the best way we can and hope the results speak for themselves.
By removing that earthen dam, the dike, and allowing the tides to reconnect with what was once salt marsh inside the dike, we're going to be restoring more than 21 miles of historic tidal creeks and sloughs.
But first, crews need access. That means removing woody vegetation that has sprouted on the dikes over the last century and decommissioning a popular trail along its crest. The work is demanding on all fronts, but it delivers some unusual rewards.
It's not every day that we get to see a bald eagle on our construction site. This is a unique project for us. We typically build things.
As the contractor starts moving dirt, The project team is focused on its biggest challenge.
Normally, schedules are dictated by calendars. In our case, the schedule is dictated by the tides.
The construction sequencing and timing are critical to the success of this project, simply because we're working in an estuary.
One of the really unique things about estuaries is that they're tide-driven. We have an unusually extreme tidal range. The difference from a low tide to a high tide is crazy. It's 16, 17 feet.
Each day, 2 high tides flood the delta, and 2 low tides draw water back into Puget Sound. Water levels are constantly changing, and they can vary dramatically with the cycles of the moon and time of year. A period of lower than usual high tides occurs each fall. Success of the project depends on this precious window of time.
Unfortunately, it only lasts for 10 days, and you can't remove 5 miles of dike in 10 days.
Instead, workers must whittle it down, carving away 75% of its bulk over 4 months, but carefully leaving a temporary wedge intact.
If the tide were to come in too soon, it would flood the construction area, and it would quickly make it very difficult to do the work and probably impossible in lots of places.
Crews move in synchrony with the tides, removing material when low tides permit, pulling back when the water is high. If they complete this demanding dance by nature's deadline, 760 acres will become estuary again, an infusion of scarce habitat for wildlife, and top priority for recovering ancient runs of salmon swimming into a new century.
I think it's a big, amazing restoration project going on.
The Nisqually Indian Tribe, a key project partner, has already restored 140 acres in a neighboring portion of the Delta.
I'm Nuji Couch. They call me the grandpa of the river right now. I've been here, I think it's, what, 54 years now fishing.
People all over say, yeah, Nuji can put a net in a mud puddle and come up with fish.
Taking the dikes out is probably going to make it quite a bit better than what it is now.
We want people to be able to do the things they've done for hundreds of years, and all of us to exist on this river in a way that makes it good for everybody.
They asked me when I'm going to retire, but I said, when the fish quit running. So that's going to be a long time, I guess.
Darkness delivers the chance for a new future in the Nisqually. With seasonal low tides just hours away, crews prepare for their one opportunity to eliminate what's left of the dike holding back Puget Sound.
It's so exciting. The adrenaline is flowing. We're going to see water coming in here tomorrow in ways that nobody on this earth really has seen.
Tonight's focus, Shannon Slough, the first of 7 major channels to be reconnected.
Today it's essentially a freshwater pond.
It's been more than 100 years since the tides moved in and out twice a day on this ground. I think it's really something special that's being done here.
Between now and low tide at 4:45 tomorrow morning, we will move about 2,000 tons of dirt to reopen this channel. It is very much a race. We've got to move this dirt before the tide starts to come up again. Here it is, the moment we've been waiting for. 10 years worth of planning, Puget Sound entering the Nisqually estuary where it belongs.
The day after the last breach, I was in a different place than I had been before. And it felt different, and it looked different, and it's more wild. And that's a remarkable thing.